Hello everyone, I'm Ron Grant coming to you live and direct from Tortola in the Virgin Islands. It is election night, the results are in. Not quite yet, but we're going to be leading you up to that. Journey to Elections, 284 Media has continuously made it possible for the general public, not only locally, but regionally and internationally alike, to be sure that they are witnessing history in the making. You have heard from the candidates, you have seen the debates, you have seen the rallies, you have seen the mudslinging, you have seen all the stuff that persons perhaps don't like to see. And tonight we're bringing you the results, live and direct from Tortola in the Virgin Islands, Road Town, at the Multi-Purpose Sports Complex. I want to take this opportunity before I begin to thank all the supporters who have continued to support us and our hardworking team who were at each and every polling station today. And today I'm honored to be joined by my co-host, the lovely Mrs. Angel Cameron. Angel, thank you so much for once again joining our set and making sure that persons within your territory get to witness history in the making.
Yes, this is definitely a pivotal election for the Virgin Islands, and I want to thank you and the 284 team for your hard work, because today I've been hearing lots of accolades about how the coverage of the media, coverage for the election for 2023 has given persons some sort of empowerment, because they're able to feel, see, and know every step of the way the process. There's no more ambiguity, and that's because media houses like you have made it possible.
And that is our job. I was telling the public today, I was at the studio all day getting reports, and I told them, I promise you that if I have to stay there until 1 p.m. tonight, you are going to get the results. Because contrary to what persons may think, pinpoint this, yes, we are professionals. I'm a reporter, journalist, and I'm also a registered. So I have much at stake, just like everyone else, and I think it's imperative that we all understand that.
Yeah.
So we have some people that are going to be joining us tonight. I'm honored to be joined by not only yourself, but Mr. Kenny Thompson, who is a long-standing banking professional.
Yes.
We have Mrs. Sharon Flax-Brutus, who's a hospitality professional, and then we also have Mrs. Janet Bryn, who is a marketing professional, and then we have Mr. Benito Wheatley, who is home for elections, and he has decided to come and join us. All of these individuals not only represent a different industry, but they also represent a different district, and they are registered voters themselves.
Yeah, it's an interesting perspective, because normally when we talk about these people or you see them just for the profession that they have. But tonight you get to hear from the constituent.
Yes. Yeah.
You get to hear from the business or professional side of them, and then you get to hear the human in them. You get to hear their heart about not just the election, but what this decision for 2023 would mean for them personally.
Most
and
importantly,
going forward.
well, I want to open by asking you that. What does Decision 2023 mean to you, Angel?
For me, Decision 2023 is the opening point for BVI's progress. Honestly, I believe we have been stalemate for quite some time. I think we've attempted progress over the years, and we came to the point where the storms reset us. 2017 was a reset moment more than it was devastation. We lost things, but we didn't lose too much people. We also lost the old way that we thought, because we built a new community within the rebuild of our territory. People helping people, and it was a point for us to reset. We also saw new businesses emerge, so that tells me that our business structure was now starting to build and form on its own, and not just new businesses, but the entrepreneurial spirit arose after the storms in 2017. And for me, 2023 brings us to the point where we now need to move forward beyond the rebuild phase. We should now be in execution phase. So for me, this is an important decision year.
I love that. For me, when I reflect on my time having moved back home to the Virgin Islands, I find it very important. I am honored that I'm able to, and I keep saying it, allow the public to witness history in the making. But I'll go back a bit further to the hurricanes of 2017 and COVID. I kept telling some of my friends and family in the United States, I would not have wanted to be anywhere else.
It's true.
But at home with my family, at home with my people, being able to spend time with them and help us move towards progress. We have the youth votes represented tonight. We have the elderly. we have the sick and shut-in, we have the disabled, and I think as a society, if we continue to holistically realize that it really takes all of us, because we hear that all the time, it takes a village, it takes a village, but even when persons are elected, it takes a community to be able to support that individual, it takes a community to be able to nurture and really put forward the values that we are so accustomed to and that we have long gone really spoke about. So I'm honored to be here in this position and to be able to really just spread the great news about our great little nation.
Yeah, but do you see that community spirit that you speak about is represented in the candidates that have put themselves forward
and
this year?
We have quite a bit of candidates.
I look forward to getting into who they are, to getting into the historical aspects of things, but that community spirit has definitely shown itself. And what we're about to see is, can we now no longer become just a communities segregated throughout the territory, but can we no longer be just districts for election, but be the Virgin Islands so that we can build and move forward? And that's
Together
what I'm looking for.
Together as one, absolutely. Well, viewers, as we mentioned, of course, we are continuing to give you coverage. It is very important that you know that the counting has not commenced yet. The official opening ceremony, the official opening remarks here at the complex have not resumed as yet, but we have I'd say a small crowd, a decent crowd, persons who have gathered, supporters, residents, just observing the process. We have a number of media houses as well, including ourselves here, and the floor where the actual action will be taken not too long from now. We have persons who are waiting and anticipating. I'm sure we have a number of candidates where we are positioned. We are not able to see exactly if candidates are coming together as yet, but we do reckon that by the end of tonight, there will be quite a bit of persons within this multi-purpose sports complex. Angel, today in my series of interviews, and even outside of today, one of the things that I was really proud of, and I kept saying, is that as a Virgin Islander, we have always held very organized, very safe, and incident-free elections. And this election season, as pivotal as it is no different. We saw persons from District 1 to District 9 going to the polls. In the early stages, it might have been too slow. Even for me, I looked at it and I was like, oh, where are the people? But they got there. We saw where during the latter part of everything it picked up. But most importantly, conducting ourselves decently.
And I find that is something that you said that we've historically been able to do, even though the campaign trail may divide persons. When we get to the polling station, we remember that the reason that we're here is that this is not just our constitutional right, but it is an important step in how we move forward together as a territory. So it's always good to see that we can go there, we can make our silent but very powerful decisions, and we can walk away knowing that we've impacted the future of the Virgin Islands.
I love that you said silent but very powerful, because as you know, voting is it's a prized possession. It's very personal.
Oh yeah.
It's a touchy topic for many persons. Many persons don't sometimes even want to engage in it. But it is a personal and private right, and I'm happy to see that for the most part. I think we're a little bit nervous earlier today, but the numbers, I'll kid you not, as they continue to come in, and once we began to put the numbers with advanced polling today, we saw where it wasn't much different from 2019. I believe that by the end of this evening, we'll see where that support is leaning towards.
Yeah, and I think that's an important point for people to understand, because a lot of folks still think that the election this year has been under-supported as in comparison to previous years. But when you look at the numbers in 2015, they were elevated quite a bit. The numbers from 2019 are very much on par, and in some areas higher this time around than they were in 2019. So it's a good perspective for us to have, to see that people have been consistent over these past two elections in the way that they vote, and that's good.
Indeed, consistent as well as exercising their right, because early in stages we would admit that we heard persons saying, they're not going to come to the polls, of all ages. I've heard it from young persons. I'll kid you not, I literally, in some cases, you had to walk the young people to the polls to make sure that they actually went in and did what did what they were supposed to do. Some said to me that they undervoted. They might have did 2 out of 4, and while in there they realized, okay, let me do way, so let me do that. But it's important, and I think the youth conversation, you being a mother, I'm sure you understand this, having those early conversations with your not only children, but relatives and community members. I want to ask you this though, from a church community perspective, because that is one of your major foundations. What has the conversation been like?
I think this has been one of the election seasons that is reminiscent of when in the Bible, when the people started to go around the promised land. And for the Christian community, this is a point where we can only leave it up to God now to allow what He will for the territory. But in our circles, there's a lot of prayer, there's a lot of contemplation, and there's a lot of waiting to see what God would do, because sometimes you and I may have a desire, but that may not be what God wants for the territory. We may need to be in a season of waiting. We may have to go into a season where we overcome. So it's just a matter of us waiting to see, but no matter who is chosen, no matter how they are chosen, no matter why they have gotten there, our job as a church community is simply to pray.
And most holistically, the church plays a very integral role in service. It's my view of a hospital. You know, you have persons of all demographics, they're sick and they come for healing. But it also plays a very pivotal role in making sure that the members and the community understand their importance and that they feel secured in their ability to engage in conversation. Sometimes persons would say that, you know, pastors or preachers have no space in politics. You know, and I think as citizens, we all have a space in politics. So I'm happy to hear that.
That separation of church and state seems to be a thing that we've brought down from America. But to be honest, you know, in the Bible, religion is a political space. It's about leaders in all rights and aspects. And this is why you see the Christian community in the BVI have always been very much involved. You find over the past few election cycles, a lot of religious beliefs and prayer and meditation has been involved in the process. And it's an important part not just of religion, but of our culture. Because Virgin Islanders are a territory of people who believe that God is important in who we are culturally, historically. Our ancestors worship this same God. So this is one of the reasons why it's so important for us as Christians to be a part of the process, not to have that separation, but to understand what our space is in the process.
So I'm happy that you mentioned that, Angela, and I'm going to be the devil's advocate, not deliberately, but in having conversations with a lot of the candidates, right? We interviewed 42 or 43 candidates. Last election, I did 32 interviews just for the record. And as you know, and as the public knows, in that just for the record, we asked a number of questions. Questions on abortion, questions on same-sex marriage, questions on legalization of marijuana, questions on pari-mutuel vetting. And one of the things that a few of the candidates said is that they feel as though we're a Christian society by convenience. We use that term and we sometimes want to specify, you know, well, it's good for this and it's not good for this, or I could say yes to this, but I can't say yes to that. I want to have a conversation more so, and just your brief opinion on that statement more so, and how could we perhaps be more thorough in our Christianity and our living, so that it doesn't come across, like many of these candidates said, that we're conveniently a Christian society. And I'm sure you heard that before.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think one of the points that is always escapes is that we're modernizing as a territory.
Okay.
We're growing, we're maturing. Unfortunately, as we modernize, we have come to a place where we're forgetting our roots, the undertones that have made us who we are. And not only is that historical content important for us to build as we grow, it includes our religious belief. So whereas many feel that it's convenient, it's because we have not hold fast to our religious beliefs as we did in the past. You know, the center of how we operate as a community. You and I grew up knowing that we had to say prayers at school.
Absolutely.
Even if we didn't do it at home, it was always included in us. And you know, these are things that we're losing. That is a part of the fabric of who we are as Virgin Islanders. It may be as simple as that. Every event that we have, we started with a prayer. That doesn't happen everywhere else.
That's correct.
It's natural to us because it is a part of our cultural fabric. And I think what's been happening is, as we modernize, we're trying to fit into the rest of society throughout the world, when really we need to maintain the fabric and the quality of who we are. So our Christian beliefs is a part of that quality.
That's a conversation we're definitely going to have to continue. But viewers, we are going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be back with more of the election coverage, Journey to Elections 2023. We'll be right back.
With Beyond the Reef. Today we are doing shark research. So today we are doing whale research with Beyond the Reef. And wherever I go, I take CCT with me because my life is unlimited.
Is about these people.
It's always a pleasure coming to you live and direct from the
What's poppin'? What's really good?
Davis has won it for the Lakers.
Yo, everything good, Dad?
Aye. This thing got me one way, Daddy.
What do you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch it when I reach home.
What you really? Hey, this ain't like you, you know.
Dad, this thing got me staying home, keeping out of trouble me.
Wow. What's your name is?
Shit. I talking about my CCT life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial turn into 5. 5 months turn into, well, you know I huff. I watching ball. I been watching football. Dad, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hook, I tell you.
Is that my lunch? Is that my lunch?
We're like the coworker that doesn't eat your lunch.
I'm John. I'm John.
CG Insurance. Good like that.
Kids, let's go! Sean, what are you doing?
I solved it. We'll buy our life insurance policy from this company and then go over here and get our home insurance. Then get our motor policy from right over here.
Or we could just get everything with CG Insurance. Save a lot of money and effort.
They do it all? Even pensions?
Even pensions.
We're like a husband that doesn't overcomplicate everything. CG Insurance. Good like that.
Is someone gonna get that?
Hello.
Hello. So nice of you to have cleaned up for us. Hi, baby.
We're like in-laws that don't show up unannounced.
Don't worry. I've got this.
CG Insurance. Good like that.
ceremony is being held down on the floor, of course, with the supervisor of election. She's doing a number of different activities. So we're going to take a quick pause and move down there and see what's going on.
This year's elections. As this is my first time serving as supervisor of elections, I am indeed grateful for the quite small. However, you have seen what we were able to produce today. Tonight's proceedings will commence with the results from the advanced poll on Thursday. The returning officers will bring the seats from each couch, and then we will start the process. The results from the 9 districts will be uploaded, following which I will announce the total votes for each candidate. Once that process has been completed, we will move to uploading the results by district and polling divisions from the votes cast today, and then review the totals for district candidates and territorial candidates. We expect an orderly flow of proceedings on our end, so we request the same from everyone gathered here tonight. Again, welcome, and the counting proceedings will now begin.
So advanced polling first.
All right, Angel, the counting proceedings have just been announced to begin by the supervisor of elections. She just gave her opening statement outlining how the proceedings of tonight will go. I have to ask you, let's run through our candidates, because we have a number of candidates, a number of independents. We have, of course, the Virgin Islands Party, who has the only team with the full slate. Both the NDP, the National Democratic Party, as well as the Progressive Virgin Islands Party has 9 candidates, and then we have a number of independent candidates. Is there particularly any district? I know we're eyeing all of them. We have to get our results for each of them, but we have quite a bit. So let's go through our
I think we should
list
start
of
with
candidates.
the full slate.
All right, so let's begin with the incumbent, Virgin Islands Party. All right, so we have in the 1st district Dr. Carl Dawson.
Yeah.
2nd district Marietta Flax Headley. District 3 Kevin Smith. District 4 Luce Hod Smith. District 5 Kai Reimer. District 6 Alvar Maduro Keynes. District 8 L. Allen Wheatley. District 9 Vincent Wheatley. And I missed District 7, who is the chairman of the Virgin Islands Party, Dr. Natalia Wheatley. Of course, the at-large candidates are Zori Walcott, Neville Smith, Shari B. DeCastro, and Carvin Maloney.
Listen, numbers win elections.
Really?
When you can produce a full slate, your chances are high.
Okay.
The margin for you is much higher. And the incumbent understands that, I believe. And I believe this is why they have produced a full slate in attempts to have their margins for win be in their favor. The slate of candidates is an interesting one to me.
It is.
Because we have persons from all walks of life, but what stands out the most is there are a lot of professionals on here, persons who have done well individually, persons who are coming back to prove or attempting to come back to prove what they've done for the past 4 years has been sufficient, and that's what they're hoping to hear. So this is an interesting list for me.
It is a very interesting list, and 2 of the individuals particularly were ratified and announced very late. Marietta Flex Headley, former school principal, and Zoe Walcott, a business professional at the Cyril B. Rumney Tortola Pier Park, and also an entrepreneur. Those 2 women were the last 2 to be ratified within the party. And I believe particularly as it pertains to the District 2 candidate, Marietta Flex Headley, it came as a bit of a shock to persons. And in interviewing her, she did state where she's always been involved in politics. She's always been aligned with the party. She's always been a supporter, and the calling was essentially one that she had to make up her mind and decide, because the district was about to go unopposed. We see that in another political party where persons did not want the party or the district to go unopposed. And I'll be very honest with you, I respect anyone in the community who is willing to stand up, not only for political office, but willing to stand up and say, listen, I don't want my district to go unopposed. I personally believe that no district should go unopposed. There's no reason that in a country of 25 square miles, 30 plus individuals, and what I would consider more degrees per capita, because we have some educated people. We have some people that have went to school and trained. There's no reason why we should have one individual running and the district be unopposed. So I do give kudos to many of those persons who came up and said, you know what, I'm going to run because I don't want the district unopposed.
And even though they were latecomers to the party, I think they added an interesting dynamic.
Okay.
I think it was good to see, because I believe this is the first year that we've had an unprecedented number of women representing.
That's correct. Some 16 women contesting the general
16 women
elections.
representing in one election sitting. And for me, that's an important factor. I do believe the shock factor is more in the second district, because even though a lot of people may know second district candidate Marita Flax Headley, this isn't something that they probably foresaw.
Yeah.
So,
especially after someone just retired.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, from 34 years of running for office.
Oh yeah. So this is an interesting shift. And dare I say poetic in some way, only because she managed the largest school in the territory, and then now she's shifting to a territorial type position where you're managing a district of people.
Well, I'm glad that you raised that point, Angela, about the management of the school, and that is quite influential. We have other educators as well in the race. Sharibi De Castro, the NDP's 4th District candidate, Sandy Harrigan Underhill, also managed the largest public institution. So we see where a number of women in different leadership positions are coming, re-emerging back to that talent. Well, tell me about some of the candidates. We covered the incumbent VIP. Let's go to the Progressive Virgin Islands movement.
I think this is a party that we should look out for, honestly. The slate isn't full and it's disappointing, but the candidates that they have are quality persons, especially their at-large slate. To me, those at-large persons are quite quality persons in their group. I love the fact that they had a number of persons who have already been in politics and persons who are new, as well as those who are coming back for a chance to be able to offer their services to the Virgin Islands. So this is definitely a slate of candidates that's worthy. There's a cross-section of professionals, and I like that about BVIN.
Well, I agree with you, because one of the sentiments that I've been hearing across the board is that their at-large team is strong.
Oh, yeah.
You keep hearing a number of these individuals, their name coming up, and you're right. While they may not have 9 full slate, they only have 9. Their at-large team is pretty strong, as well as their district candidates. So that's one that we have to look at.
Oh, yeah.
We come to the National Democratic Party, who also has 9 candidates. Of course, we see a lot of returning candidates. Aaron Parolin in the 3rd electoral district. He is a returning candidate. This is the second time he's contesting that particular district. Dr. Sandy Harrigan Underhill, she ran in the last election as an at-large candidate, and now she has returned, particularly in the 4th district. On the 6th district end, we also see a switch where former elected official, an at-large candidate, Myron V. Wallen, who ran 3 times. He is a 2-term legislator. At-large candidate is now contesting, or has now contested, the 6th electoral district. And then we go over to the 9th district. Mr. Coy Levins, originally from Anegada, but for persons who may not know and spent time researching, his family was originally actually from Virgin Gorda and migrated to Anegada. He has caused quite a stir within the 9th district. A lot of persons are paying attention. And then we have the 8th district, who's the chairman of this particular National Democratic Party, Marlon A. Penn, who is a returning legislator and has served. This would be his 3rd term as well. And then, of course, the at-large candidates. We have one familiar face, particularly that has returned in a different capacity. That is Dr. Kedrick Pickren, long-standing member of not only the party. There were some differences. We see him having realigned himself with the party after having ran in the last election as an independent candidate in the 7th district, but now returning as a at-large candidate. And then we have Mr. Bernard Estridge, a young professional, an attorney at law, and Mr. Alan O'Neill, originally from the 9th district. And then we have former First Lady of the Virgin Islands and financial professional, Miss Lorna Smith, who has, I think, in many cases, perhaps this is another one that had caught persons by surprise in regards to contesting her candidacy.
Yeah, I think this is a power punching team. And let me qualify what I mean by that. they've got a number of persons who are highly respected in the community, even though they are a much smaller team.
As well, yes.
You're talking about the likes of Sandy Underhill. You're talking about Marlon Penn. You're talking about Myron Walwing. You're talking about Lorna Smith, Kedrick Pickering. Those are the heavy
hitters, yeah.
in that party. Although the party is small, they definitely are one of the parties that I think we need to look out for.
Okay.
Because I believe that their influence in the community may speak volumes today.
I do think so, and I think that essentially what persons would often say is that your record speaks for itself.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes to professionals and persons who have worked in various industries, you mentioned Sandy, you mentioned Myron, you mentioned Lorna, you mentioned Marlon, you mentioned Kedrick, you mentioned even when we look at Coy Levins, a young professional who has served this territory in various capacities. I think we do have to give some precedence to their accomplishments and the fact that they are very learnt in their various fields, and I don't think that would necessarily be overlooked in this election.
And I agree with that. The other candidates that I didn't mention are respected in their own rights. Everyone knows Aaron Parolin, whether you're in the 3rd District or outside of it, because he has not only been a part of our education community, he's been a part of our music and cultural community, and he continues to be a part of the voices that speak up for Virgin Islands youths. We're talking about people like Estridge. Renard is a learned professional. I mean, he really is a family man. He is a man of integrity. So you're looking at a slate of people. Mr. O'Neill is someone that I've heard persons speak of very highly.
And very vocal.
Oh, yes. And he looks like a silent person, but it turns out that he really is a giant in his own right. And I think it's important that we look at this slate of candidates, really, like I said to me, when I looked and assessed them over these past few weeks, I said to myself, you know, this is a powerhouse that we need to look and be careful, because chances are they may be able to punch above their weight. We just have to wait and see what the results say tonight.
I agree, and of course, viewers, we have to mention our independent candidates. This election series, Angel, an election cycle, I do think that there was, I don't know if I would call it a majority, but quite a consensus as it pertains to persons seemingly staring away from party politics and wanting to see a lot of independent candidates emerge, many of whom I'm sure got inquiries to join a party, but for whatever reason they decided to stick with it and not join a party. We have independent candidate in the 1st electoral district, Chad George, District 2, Troy Christopher, District 4, Rosita Scatliff, District 7, Perline Scatliff Leonard, District 9, Mr. Vernon Vantspool, and 4 independent at-large candidates, the youngest of whom being Mr. Daniel Davies, Mitzi Ellis Simpson, Lesmore Smith, and Miss Karen Vantspool. These independents, they've made quite a presence.
Listen, I consider them the superstars of tonight's show. And the reason why I say that is because it takes a lot of courage, not just to put yourself forward to represent the people, to be a spokesperson for the people, and to be a policymaker for the future of our territory, but it takes guts for you to be able to say that I will do so, and if I have to stand independently, I'm going to do so independently, because I believe that much in my country. So I applaud this list of people because they didn't have a arm of people to stand with. They stood alone, and they said, even if it meant that I had to go alone, I'm going to do so for country, and I love that about them.
Of course, and of course I cannot forget the Honorable Julian Fraser, who is still the sitting present representative for the 3rd District, the incumbent. He is the chairman of the Progressive United Election Party. He's the only person sitting on that ticket, and he's standing alone. In addition to
a stalwart in the political world for
That's
the
your district, correct?
It is my district, and he almost symbolizes the historic elements of BVI politics, because he is one of the few left who has been there for 20 years.
Absolutely. And then we have on the Patriotic Citizens Movement election ticket, Ishmael O'Bradwood, who is, again, the single member of that political party.
And a known spokesperson throughout our territory. He is no stranger to the airways. He's no stranger to issues in the BVI. He is no stranger to the BVI. So I think it is imperative that persons like him say, you know what, although my party is young, it's time for us to stand stand up. And if I have to stand up with just me first, this is how I'm going to get that patriotic movement started. So I applaud those efforts.
One of the things that I've observed in our variety of candidates is many are saying age is nothing but a number. They're not allowing their age or what society would perhaps dictate to be suitable for an elected official to really chart their course. We have a lot of persons who are 70 and older, and they're making their case straight that they want to represent, they're competent in their minds and their opinion, and I think we have to respect that. But beautifully enough, we also have some young candidates. Sharif De Castro returning. We also have Daniel Davies, all of which we're all the same age group, and I think it's pleasing to see young professionals put themselves out there and really, I guess, essentially sacrifice themselves, because it is a sacrifice. Public office is a sacrifice.
I think it is a sacrifice, and not just a sacrifice, but you have put yourself on the chopping block.
Yeah.
Once you've decided to become a political candidate, there's no more a private life for you. Even if you do not make it into the current election cycle that you may be contesting, your public life, your private life goes away. You now become a public citizen by default.
Yes.
So this means that we are entitled to the end-all be-all of who you are. And as young people, we are a different breed of political candidates. I find that these young people, the Shari De Castros, the Daniel Davies, the Shaynas and Zoes, and a few of the others who are on the younger side, they have been doing things slightly differently. They made sure to implement on a heavy setting the social media aspect of
Indeed.
They've implemented a lot of the modern communication tactics and strategies that reach our people, our generations to come. And I think that's important because
I agree with you.
We need a healthy balance of not just those who are modern in technology, but also those who understand the old adage of election political tactics and antics. And we're seeing a healthy mix, and I love that.
One of the persons you mentioned would be Mrs. Shayna Smith Archer, who has contested the elections. This would be her 4th time. And others who have contested before, I believe this is Ms. Walcott, Zoe Walcott, I believe this is her third time as well, contesting the general elections. You see perseverance, you see persons coming back, even Mr. Myron Walwyn, who would have lost his seat last election, coming back, many of them coming back and giving of themselves of service. Many persons would say, I would have given up or I would have moved on, but I think it speaks to character. I think it speaks to the love of country for some persons, especially those who are yet to be successful, to be able to come back and put themselves out there.
I think that's an important point that the public should really take some time to ponder. You're talking about the O.J. Smiths, you're talking about the Aaron Carolins, in addition to the names that you've already mentioned, who've said to themselves, even though we've been unsuccessful in the past, we're not going to give up because our ultimate end goal is to serve the people. I think that is something that requires a round of applause. I think that's something that we should consider honorable, but not just honorable, that we should consider this a part of the person that they are. This is who they are. This speaks to their morals, their ethics, their values, that potentially these are people who won't give up easy when they're elected. So to me, it says something about the character of those persons.
Well, viewers, we hope that you are enjoying our conversation. We're going to take a quick commercial break and we will be right back.
Turns out I'm allergic to the Australian veggie spread.
Ooh, thankfully CG will cover you anywhere in the world. Remember when I went to Australia for my title fight? Trust me when I say you do not want to get in the ring with a kangaroo. It wasn't until my victory dinner with the Sultan that I realized top shelf caviar doesn't agree with me. But I was covered. Anyway, I gotta go. I'm teaching your cousin how to use a flamethrower. Woohoo!
Medical cover anywhere in the world. CG Insurance. Good like that.
Looks like Johnny's ex-girlfriend finally found my car.
You've got CG. You're fine. I'll never forget the year those monkeys stole my car. They drove it over a cliff, burned the seats, and carved the words pineapple banana smoothie into all the doors. And that was after they used it for the bank heist. I don't blame them. It's their favorite smoothie, and I refuse to share the recipe.
No deductible for theft, malicious damage, and more. CG Insurance. Good like that.
There goes my new car. Guess I'm back on my bike.
Your bike? CG offers new car replacement. Remember my monster truck days? Well, one night I attempted a 50-foot pogo double backflip. I landed it and went to karaoke. It wasn't until afterward that my car got hit by that fisherman. He gave me some great mahi-mahi, though. Anyway, they paid fast and got me in a new car. Now call a cab. I want you to meet my alpaca guy.
New car replacement for the first year of ownership. CG Insurance. Good like that.
Angie, how can I get my claims paid quick? Rent's due next week.
CG processes 99% of claims within 5 days. Remember when I was hang gliding with those goats? I caught a gust of wind and flew right into a moving car. Every appendage was in the cast, and they paid fast and fairly. That's what I get for trusting a man with a mustache and an eye patch. Now I gotta go. I'm meeting the guy who bedazzled my toes.
99% of claims are processed within 5 days. CG Insurance. Good like that.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here. My name is Kamal Haynes. Most of you know me from 284 News, but now you get to see me in a different light on my very own show called Health is Wealth. We have Joel Turnbull.
I don't want you to arch your back when you're pulling down.
Milton McLean.
First of all, right, your footwork.
Stephen Payne.
That was a 9 out of 10. I know you got the service down pat.
Steve Augustine.
You did a pretty hard workout today, so perhaps...
And as you can see, it's actually
you're feeling it.
Alonzo Boynes.
Taekwondo.
Adam Murrows.
I'll speak as if you're an absolute beginner.
I am an absolute beginner.
You are an absolute beginner.
And Seth Graham.
It bites. It will bite.
Get your water, get your fruits and veggies, and experience a wealth of knowledge about getting healthy.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
Hun, it's asking for your password.
Huh?
You were logged out. I need the password.
BR...
What's the rest?
BRANDI, the number 4, EVER?
Who's Brandy?
We're like the password that isn't your ex-girlfriend's name. CG Insurance. Good like that.
I should have changed it.
You should have.
You're right.
Some claim that the age of a true gentleman is far behind
Marietta Headley, VIP 10, Turnbull, PVIM 78, total votes cast 125. District 3, Julian Fraser, Progressive United 4, Aaron Parra, NDP 56, Kevin total votes cast 181. 4, Sandy M. Harrigan Underhill, NDP. Luce Hodge Smith, VIP 51. 0. Ian Seymour, VIP. Total votes cast 165.
That's all you voted?
Marvin Blyden, PBIM
The scores for advanced polling. I gotta engage you, Angel, Kenny, Janet. What are your thoughts? I see smiles. I see some faces looking a bit perturbed. You raise your eyebrows a couple times. Like what? Tell us, Angel. Reflect on them for us. Let's go through them.
I think if we really think about it, a lot of this has been some shock. There's been some shock factor. I want to start specifically with the 7th district, Perline and Natalio. Perline had 7 more votes than the incumbent in the early voting. Is that a shock?
That is a shock. I think that's a shock.
I think there's a lot to consider, being that a sitting district representative is a premier. And while it's just advanced polling, it is interesting that it would be a 7 number difference.
Yeah.
Kenny?
It speaks to change.
Yeah.
Speaking to, I mean, it's very early.
Yes.
Because this is advanced polling, so I mean, we still have a long night to go.
Yeah.
But the fact that you start ahead, it means the other guy has to play catch up.
Yeah. When you look at the 4th district, it's a tight race. Sandy with 72, Luce with 51, Ian with 42. This is a tight race. There's a difference in the numbers, but there's still so much more to go. And just like Kenny said, this is early.
Yeah, very early.
It's early, and I would just reiterate, it definitely speaks to change. Because usually, as a newcomer, you don't you're not usually expected to do so well.
I mean, but if we bump up to the at-large votes,
yes,
you know, they're not quite interested.
Oh, this has been something really interesting. If we think about Shari with 515, she has had the highest number of votes in the early voting thus far. You're looking at Ronnie Skelton with 513. We're talking about, I'm sorry, Lorna Smith had the highest number. She had 568. And this is the former First Lady of the Virgin Islands. Zoe Walcott with 430. Shayna 451. I mean, Kevin Pickering coming in with a whopping 470. This at-large race is huge, but the numbers are telling.
What is interesting there is the dynamic, because the leader right now is a member of the NDP, and you have following her, you have
VIP.
Yes.
So you have two VIP, you have an NDP, and you have a PVIL.
Yeah, right behind,
so it's
literally.
shaping up to be a little color.
Yeah, definitely a melting pot. But one of the things that I want to mention in regards to the at-large, definitely when we look at these scores, and we're going to do some comparison as we go along in regards to last election, but it is imperative to know that the majority of the early voters would have been seniors, persons who are disabled, and persons, of course, a different demographic, persons who might have been working. But let's take the focus particularly on seniors. It somehow shows that they did come out in numbers. And Angela and I was talking earlier today, and even in my analysis of going through the day, I was a bit nervous. I don't know if anybody could agree or disagree. I was like, where are the people? Where are the voters?
I was concerned.
You know, I was concerned.
I was definitely concerned. I thought I walked into my polling station way too quickly and walked back out just as quickly.
And just so we're aware, and just so the public knows, Janet, you're in the 4th district. Kenny, you're in the 6th. Angela, you're in the 3rd. I'm also in the 6th district. And Benita, who's going to be joining us later, is in the 8th, as well as Sharon. She's in the 9th.
I think what attributed to the short lines was that system that they use, almost electronic.
It was very sophisticated.
Because at the end of the day, when you look at the numbers that were posted at 5 p.m., they were kind of in line with the previous election of 2019. So they weren't so far off. So it shows that the system is more efficient.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think in my district is one of the more elderly districts where our population is a more mature and elderly population. And I watched quite a number of our seniors today maneuver that electronic process seamlessly. I was anticipating they asked so many questions in advance, but when they got there, they were able to just maneuver that process quite seamlessly. And for me, it was a moment of final modernization and transition. I'm excited for the next election already because I believe that the process is now going to be
Well, let me just slow you. Let's get over this one first, okay?
I was going to join her in that one because I'm looking forward to getting to the point where we can do absentee ballots for the people who, can't necessarily travel home to vote.
Yeah.
No problem.
I'm excited.
I agree with you.
Fully modernized.
Yeah, because there are a lot of persons who had to travel home from college.
Yes.
But we have a lot to discuss, guys. We're going to take a quick commercial break real quick, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
treatments with Beyond the Reef. Today we are doing shark research. So today we are doing whale research with Beyond the Reef. And wherever I go, I take CCT with me because my life is unlimited.
Is about these people.
It's always a pleasure coming to you live and direct from the
What's poppin'? What's really good?
Davis has won it for the Lakers!
Yo, everything good, Dad?
Aye. This thing got me one way, Daddy.
What do you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch it when I reach home.
What do you really? Hey, this ain't like you, you know.
Dad, this thing got me staying home. Keeping out of trouble me.
Wow. What your name is?
Shit. I talking about my CCT life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial turn into 5. 5 months turn into, well, you know I hustle. I watching ball. I even watching football. Dad, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hook, I tell you.
Is that my lunch? Is that my lunch?
We're like the coworker that doesn't eat your lunch.
I'm John. I'm John.
CG Insurance. Good like that.
Kids, let's go! Sean, what are you doing?
I solved it. We'll buy our life insurance policy from this company and then go over here and get our home insurance. Then get our motor policy from right over here.
Or we could just get everything with CG Insurance. Save a lot of money and effort.
They do it all? Even pensions?
Even pensions.
We're like a husband that doesn't overcomplicate everything. CG Insurance. Good like that.
Is someone gonna get that?
Hello.
Hello. So nice of you to have cleaned up for us. Hi, baby.
We're like in-laws that don't show up unannounced.
Don't worry. I've got this.
CG Insurance. Good like that.
Andy, turns out I'm allergic to the Australian veggie spread.
Ooh, thankfully CG will cover you anywhere in the world. Remember when I went to Australia for my title fight? Trust me when I say you do not want to get in the ring with a kangaroo. It wasn't until my victory dinner with the Sultan that I realized top shelf caviar doesn't agree with me. But I was covered. Anyway, I gotta go. I'm teaching your cousin how to use a flamethrower. Woohoo!
Medical cover anywhere in the world. CG Insurance. Good like that.
Looks like Johnny's ex-girlfriend finally found my car.
You've got CG. You're fine. I'll never forget the year those monkeys stole my car. They drove it over a cliff, burned the seats, and carved the words pineapple banana smoothie into all the doors. And that was after they used it for the bank heist. I don't blame them. It's their favorite smoothie, and I refuse to share the recipe.
No deductible for theft, malicious damage, and more. CG Insurance. Good like that.
There goes my new car. Guess I'm back on my bike.
Your bike? CG offers new car replacement. Remember my monster truck days? Well, one night I attempted a 50-foot pogo double backflip. I landed it and went to karaoke. It wasn't until afterward that my car got hit by that fisherman. He gave me some great mahi-mahi, though. Anyway, they paid fast and got me in a new car. Now call a cab. I want you to meet my alpaca guy.
New car replacement for the first year of ownership. CG Insurance. Good like that.
Angie, how can I get my claims paid quick? Rent's due next week.
CG processes 99% of claims within 5 days. Remember when I was hang gliding with those goats? I caught a gust of wind and flew right into a moving car. Every appendage was in the cast, and they paid fast and fairly. That's what I get for trusting a man with a mustache and an eye patch. Now I gotta go. I'm meeting the guy who bedazzled my toes.
99% of claims are processed within 5 days. CG Insurance.
Sandy M. Carmen Underhill, NEP 285. Bruce Hodge Smith, VIP 322. Election date, Both early voting and election day for territorial candidates, Ishmael E. Bradley, 8, Daniel R. Davies, 137, Sharon Bianca Ryan Castro, 251, Missy Janelle Ellis, 16, Bernard B. Estrich, 177, Carmen Malone, 184, Stacy Maker, 299, Ingrid A. Moses Scott, 203, David Allen O'Neill, 147, Henry Pickering, 261, Ronnie W. Skelton, 305, Lesmore Smith, 67, Lorna Smith, 331, Neville Smith, 198, Shayna Marianne Smith Archer, 217, Karen Vanderpool, 21, Zoe Walcott, 199, for total votes cast in vote count for territorial candidates, 3,021. With the totals combined from advanced polling, the statutes are as follows. Ishmael Bradley, 27, Daniel R. Davies, 228, Sharon Bianca White Castro, 729, Nancy Janelle Ellis, 35, Bernard Estrich, 413, Carmen Malone, 611, Stacy Maker, 653, Ingrid A. Moses Scott, 574, David Allen O'Neill, 375, Henry Pickering, 672, Ronnie W. Skelton, 747, Westmore Smith, 173, Lorna Smith, 815, Neville Smith, 642, Shayna Marianne Smith Archer, 595, Karen Vanderpool, 55, Zoe Walcott, 598.
I just need to see the printout.
All right, everyone, we're going to welcome you back. Of course, you heard it there first, the various scores coming in. We do have a number of interesting happenings. Let's start with the fourth, all right? We had quite a bit. I would consider it a pretty close race.
Very
with
tight
the first,
race.
two ladies.
Yes.
Sandy coming in with a total of 285, followed by Luce at 322. Miss Thompson, Scatliff Thompson, 12, and Mr. Eon Smith, 145, for a total of 764 for the 4th District Independent candidates. I'm going to start with you, Janet, because you're in that district.
Yeah, I am in that district.
What are your thoughts?
Well, you know what? To be honest, I'm not too surprised. I think Lou's been putting in work in that district for a while, and I think I have to commend the new candidates for their campaigns, because they did pretty good for newcomers in a short space of time in the district.
Okay. Yeah. Jenny, what are your thoughts on the 4th District race?
As Janet said, I'm not 100% surprised. You call Sandy a newcomer, but she's not a.
Well, a newcomer in the district.
Yeah, but she's not a newcomer to the game.
She's not a newcomer to the game. Yeah.
She did come a little late. Luce was always out there.
Luce was always out there.
So she kind of had to play catch up. It's a pretty tight race.
Yeah. I would also add as well, just because I'm in a district for Luce, I think because even when it wasn't campaign season, she was staying relevant and visible. I could honestly say that, and anybody I speak to outside of here, I say, I gotta give it to Luce. She stays relevant. She doesn't wait till election season to let people know who she is and what she's about and what she's trying to accomplish for the district.
Being a candidate for the sitting government, I mean, that helps too. I mean, so she had that leverage, so to keep relevant.
Yeah.
Per se.
But I highlighted that because that's always been my one criticism for our elections all the time. Don't wait until election season to come and campaign and let us know who you are and what you're about and what you plan to do. Especially this time around when time is so short, we need to know. I might know you, maybe we went to school together, but I don't know you as a future politician and what you can do for the district or the country. So it makes a difference when you're out there all the time.
Yeah, I think when you look at the 4 candidates, it's indicative also of character, because the 4th district is one of the districts that I consider, and we talked about this off screen, a melting pot community.
Yes. Right.
And because they are a melting pot community, I'm not talking about indigenous Virgin Islanders by any definition. I'm talking about people whose blood, sweat, and tears have made them Virgin Islanders. I'm talking about those who at some point had felt disenfranchised for some reason or the other. I'm talking about the people who have worked their way to naturalization, belongership, and a feeling and sense of Virgin Islander love. And to have these people come out and show these numbers, especially for Sandy and for Luz, I think it's iconic. 1, because they are women.
Yes.
2, also because Sandy is a latecomer to the election, but it goes to show that in the community there was some level of presence because the people have recognized her, and Luz's efforts are showing on paper thus far.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things that I also, in canvassing throughout the community, understood specifically from the members. Luz lost to the incumbent, Mark Vanderpool, at that time. And you guys could correct me if I'm wrong, but it was somewhere around 50 plus votes. The margin.
She was close the last time around.
So that was the difference between her and Mark Vanderpool.
Literally.
And pretty much the day after, she continued campaigning.
She did.
Right down to the very last. And I think that essentially, based specifically on the community, because I'll kid you not, apart from the outside of Fort District, some areas are a bit tough. I know some people who wouldn't set foot in a crab lot. They wouldn't go, you know. I don't know if Luz is one of those persons, but I think the ability to stay present and stay connected to the community definitely served her well in this aspect, and we see where. It came up good for her.
And these people have shown that they can relate to all types of people.
Yes.
Because there is a myriad of people who are in the 4th district, and we're talking about from very old to very young.
Yes.
And they've been able to relate well. So I think congratulations to all of those who contested. Yeah. The results are in. This is an exciting time for a BVI decision 2023, because this election is really showing the difference in people and a different side of the people who voted. So.
And interesting enough, perhaps we need to reconsider what persons are looking for in politicians, because I do believe that when you look at some of the characteristics and the traits, some of the habits in what persons would look like. I'll give you some examples. I mean, I hear a lot of stuff, okay? Driving on the road with your window down. Some of the voters have an issue with that. If you're going through the neighborhood and God forbid the one of them blow you, and you ain't blow them back, it's a problem. Okay? If you go out maybe socially, you know, they want to know that they could interact with you and maybe buy you a drink or vice versa. So we haven't steer away from that one-on-one interaction of politics.
It's very intimate, and I think the size of our size has a lot to do with that. Like you said, I mean, if you know, probably might have just been on a phone call and you didn't say hi to somebody standing on the side of the road. Why, you see that run? I ain't voting for you at all. It's very, very intimate. And one thing you always hear that they look for in a candidate is they always ask for them to be approachable. He don't talk to nobody. He don't hail nobody. She don't talk to nobody.
We're getting some results now. For the 6th district.
1,658.
That's the 6th district.
Total cast ballots 934. Voter turnout 56.33%. Election day. Alvin Group Kings, VIP, 295. Mari Walwin, 495. Total votes cast, 790. Total District 6, Bellevue Polling Division, Alvin Drew Keynes, 74, Myra Baldwin, 159, total votes cast, 233.
All right, so we just heard those scores coming in from the 6. Kenny, you're the man in 6. We're both registered, I should say, in the 6. What are your thoughts on this?
Interesting.
Getting some calls.
13.
These may be the large ones.
F. Davies, 135. Sherry Bianca Castro, 276. Missy Jamel Ellis, 17. Bernard V. Estridge, 193. Carbon Malone, 189. Stacy Mather, 294. Ingrid A. Moses Scatliff, 266. David Allen O'Neill, 159. Kedrick Pickering, 289. Ronnie W. Skelton, 252. Lesmore Smith, 74. Lorna Smith, 369. Neville Smith, 241. Shayna Marianne Smith Archer, 170. Karen Vanderpool, 18. Zoe Walcott, 217. For a total votes cast on election day of 3,172. For Barbara's Bay, the totals are Ishmael E. Brathwaite, 18. Daniel Robert F. Davies, 146. Shari Bianca De Castro, 318. Mitzi Jamel Ellis, 20. Bernard V. Estridge, 229. Carbon Malone, 225. Stacy Mather, 328. Ingrid A. Moses Scatliff, 308. David Allen O'Neill, 197. Kedrick Pickering, 348. Ronnie W. Skelton, 291. Lesmore Smith, 84. Lorna Smith, 434. Neville Smith, 278. Shayna Marianne Smith Archer, 190. Karen Vanderpool, 24. Zoe Walcott, 252. Total votes cast in Robert's Bay territorial candidates, 3,690.
All right, and welcome back. We just heard those scores. Kenny, I was on to you, and you were saying this is very interesting. But tell us your thoughts, having someone who's known and understood the history and dynamic of the 6th District.
I must say the challenger put in a lot of work. He basically, he ran a campaign where he became a household name. And that's very important in any race, in any election. The one... We go again.
Election day, including districts 4 and 6. Ishmael Brathwaite, 41. Daniel Robert Davies, 393. Sharon Bianca Castro, 1,075. Macy Jamel Ellis, 57. Bernard V. Estridge, 669. Carbon Malone, 844. Stacy Mather, 1030. Ingrid A. Moses Scotland, 904. David Allen, 569. Kedrick Pickering, 1046. Ronnie W. Skelton, 1085. Lesmore Smith, 289. Laura Smith, 1288. Neville Smith, 953. Shayna Marianne Smith Archer, 816. Karen Vanderpool, 636. Alderman Kings, 419. Myron Walden, 736. Total votes cast, 1,155.
All right, there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. We have the final count, coming in from the 6th District with the Alvar Maduro Canes 419, and Myron Walwing being the projected winner with 736. Kenya, I got to go back to you because you keep getting interrupted, but tell us about your thoughts.
Yeah, so like I was saying, I mean, he was visible. He put in a lot of work. You know, he campaigned on some good things that he has planned for the district. So I would say it was a campaign of substance on both of them. I don't know, you know, the gap seems a little wide.
It is.
Yeah, the gap seems, so it's wider than I would have anticipated. But I mean, like I say, the results are trending towards change. It's trending towards change. So with gaps like these, it shows, like, you know, the people are sending a resounding message.
You know, I think it is interesting because I don't sit in the 6th District, but I have canvassed quite a few people in my attempts to ascertain the way that I believe the elections will roll. And this is contrary to what I've been hearing on the ground. The numbers are larger than what I anticipated. I did believe that Mr. Walwyn would come in the same manner he did in 2019, I believe, not 2019, 2015, when he had a resounding win at large capacity. And when you have that much people that you've been exposed to, when you narrow it down to the district, I believe you become more successful only because the larger population knows you by default. Tell me if I'm wrong, but that's the way that I looked at it.
I totally agree.
I totally echo all of that sentiment for sure. You know, you have the advantage being a former, very successful at-large candidate. You know, the whole island, the whole territory, I should say. You know, so narrow that down to the district. It's.
I understand the point totally that you guys raise, but I think it's important to also project that sometimes we take districts for granted. At large is one, but sometimes within a district, given the dynamics of the district, it sometimes makes it a little bit more complicated. And when I say that, I know many of the districts that we have in the territory are family oriented. Okay, and when you look at the 6th District, it's no different. You have a lot of family dynamics when it comes to relation, and sometimes, just sometimes, we seem more inclined to support a family member, but more so a third-time legislator, Ms. Keynes, having been a third-term incumbent. I don't think that's something that necessarily we could have taken for granted either.
But what I think too, Ron, you mentioned you know, that family support, but I think what the electorate is looking for more so now is they're looking towards competencies. So, you know, they're voting for basically the best person for the job.
Yeah, you know, I really believe that a lot of the candidates voted this time around in their district towards country. Let me qualify that.
No.
So even though they voted for their district candidate, they were thinking about persons who can sit in isolation in the House of Assembly and make decisions because they have the professional background to do so, the competencies to be able to do so, the knowledge and the know-how in action to do so. So I believe these numbers are kind of showing that in all aspects. When you look at the at-large numbers that have been trending, 904 for Moses, 1046 Pickering, you're looking at numbers of persons, Ronnie, 108, 1280 Lorna. You know, these are persons who professionally have set themselves apart in their varying fields. And hence my qualifying statement of I think people are looking, no matter whether it's district or at large, they're thinking country over self.
Yeah.
So do you think
Country,
so it says that
professionalism.
the electorate is maturing?
I think so.
I think so.
I think that's a fair statement.
I think it's about time that we say that it's
Well, in the
mature.
last couple of, the last year or so,
I think the last
we've had a lot of eye openers to make people like, hey, we need people that are going to do the job and do the job right. So, yeah,
I agree.
They're looking at that.
No, let's take a look at the at-large because we have an interesting, interesting race.
I said it was a Callaloo, but it's more like a Pilau.
but if we're honest with the at-large candidates, although the persons within them vary vastly.
Very much so.
We can't compare apples for oranges on this because nothing really matches up with the at-large candidates. But what we can say is that the people are showing a pattern, quite similar to what Kenny said earlier, that pattern of competencies. But surprisingly, people are also making some very independent decisions in these votes that happened this year. O'Neill, 569, Shari, 1078, Danielle, 393. I mean, these are people that potentially you would have thought, you know what, their numbers wouldn't look that great this early.
Yeah.
Because this is only one district.
Yeah.
And this isn't the entire district. This is only a portion of this sixth district, sorry. So because it's only a portion of the district, it begs us to say, well, what should happen next?
One of the things that I look at, and when we look at the 6th district, let's go back to that because that's the most recent. We saw a lot of projects coming to fruition. When I say that, projects that are dedicated to the youth. One would consider them simple projects, like the refurbishing of a court, the painting of a basketball field, the regalvanizing of bleachers, that type of stuff. And while they might be simple to many persons, a few things. I was having a discussion today with some persons, and they thought, well, if these things are so simple, then they could have been done a long time ago, and that's very true. But I also think that it's important for us to look at some of. And not saying this carried any weight at all, but there are some simple needs in a lot of our communities that really speak to the fabric of our youth and some of the stuff that they simply like to enjoy. And I think consistently as a society, take politics outside of it, nonprofit organizations, business persons, if we could pay some more attention to really trying to cater to those needs, each community would be in a better position, and by extension, our territory would be in a better position because we're each filling a void on our own that could help us to progress as we continue.
I definitely agree with that. It's always the little projects that make work right. So if we start with all the little projects
all right, guys.
that make work right.
Well, we have an update.
District 5.
Total ballots cast, 782. Voter turnout, 56.26%. Election day. Marvin Lyon, 192. Kai N. Weiner, 454. Totals of election and early voting. Marvin Lyon, 233. Kai N. Weiner, 536. Totals cast, 769. Long Trench, total registered voters, 757. Total ballots cast, 421. Voter turnout, 55.61%. Election date, Marvin Lyon, 92. Kai N. Reimer, 273. Total votes cast, 365. Totals, Marvin Lyon, 109. Kai N. Reimer, 304. Total votes cast, 413.
Confused me a little bit there.
What are you guys' thoughts?
The combined totals of advanced poll
that number.
Adding up quite
that number
yet.
ain't
So
adding
we'll
up.
Just follows. H.E. graduates 4, Daniel Robert F. Davies, 191, Sharon Bianca DiCastro, 473, Missy Jamel Alice, 16, Bernard Estrick, 107, Carter Malone, 323, Stacy Nathan, 504, Ingrid A. Moses Scotland, 390, David Allen O'Neill, 94, Kendrick Pickering, 279, Ronnie W. Skelton, 480, Lesmore Smith, 198, Lawrence Smith, 430, Neville Smith, 424, Shannon Marion Smith Archer, 359, Karen Patrick, 17, Zoe Walcott, 409, total votes cast, 4,698.
The at-large candidates are surprisingly good, and I'm not sure how to say that because it's varying across the board. We're seeing
And the total combined districts 4, 6, and 5 for territorial candidates for election advance polling are as follows. H.E. Bradley, 4-5, Daniel Robert Davies, 573, 573, Sherry Bianca Castro, 1473, Missy Jamel Ellis, 70, Bernard E. Estrick, 761, Carmen Malone, 1101, Stacy Maker, 1471, Ingrid A. Moses Scotland, 1229, David Allen O'Neill, 650, Kendrick Pickering, 1291, Ronnie W. Skelton, 1499, Lesmore Smith, 460, Lawrence Smith, 1648, Neville Smith, 1317, Shannon Marion Smith Archer, 1122, Karen Patrick, 88, Zoe Walcott, 1208, total votes cast, 16,006.
There we have it, our projected winner for the 5th District, Kai Reimer. Having been a first-time legislator, garnered quite a bit of support from the community within his very first term. What do you guys think?
Well, I'm not in Kai's district, but I would say honestly, Kai did well. Kai has always done well. Even though I'm not in his district, I interact with him a lot when it comes to like water issues and stuff like that. And I have to say, I commend him for just being visible, not being one of those people that don't have time for you. He will take a call, he will call you back, and he will make it a point to do his job. He signed up to do XYZ, and he's making it a point to do XYZ. So I would give him that for sure.
Kenny, your thoughts? He has quite a portfolio of communication.
Yeah, he has quite a portfolio.
Yes. I mean, it would have been surprising had it gone the other way with a portfolio like that under your belt.
Yeah.
In a way, it gives you some leverage to actually, do some things directly for your district. And he did remain very visible.
Very visible.
Very, very, very visible throughout his entire tenure. He has been there. For a fact.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I would agree with both of you is his visibility, but not just the visibility. He has updated. I'm not in the district, and I have seen every update every quarter about what has been happening in this particular district. And I applaud that.
He has a strong committee.
Oh yeah, but it goes to show that the consistency of reporting to the people was at the forefront of his committee and his mind, because that's extra work, but it's a necessary necessary extra work if you intend to continue to work for the people. So I definitely
I'd like to
give
add there
accolades
too, and not only keeping connected with the community, but keeping connected with both demographics. Something that a simple initiative that the Honorable Kai Reimer instituted was Sankey Sundays, making sure that persons of his senior age had something to do on. I could be missing it every other Sunday or whatever it is, and I drove past there a couple of times, and if you see the seniors flocking because it's Sankey Sunday, and they're looking forward to it. So meeting not only the needs of the public, and truth be told, the infrastructure-wise, communications and works, water and sewage still needs a lot of work, could use a lot of work, but still meeting outside of his portfolio, still meeting the needs of both the youth as well as the seniors.
So let's give a round of applause here, because it's been a long time since we've seen a district candidate with a massive portfolio be able to unequivocally retain a seat with a mass margin and still have this level of portfolio, because this is a large portfolio that he has. And if I am being honest, I think he's managing it well. There's been progress thus far, portfolio-wise, debt retention, debt removal, so he has decreased the debt, so this is good results.
All right, we have a District 7 update.
1,549, total ballots cast, 874, voter turnout, 56.42%. Election day. Crowley R. Scott, 290, Natalia D. Whitney, 417. Natalia D. Whitney, 487. Total votes cast, 854. The territorial electoral district, Long Ishmael Brathwaite, election day, 4. Daniel Robert Davies, 132. Shari Bianca Castro, 278. Janelle Ellis, 1-8. Bernard B. Estridge, 165. Carmen Malone, 200. Stacey Maker, 274. Avery A. Moses Stafford, 151. David Allen Neal, 113. Cedric Pickering, 329. Ronnie W. Skelton, 214. Lesmore Smith, 401. Lauren Smith, 271. Neville Smith, 240. Shannon Marion Smith Archer, 170. Karen Vanderpool, 12. Zoe Walcott, 217. Total votes cast on election day, 2,829. Totals from Longwood, election and advanced polling, territorial, Ishmael E. Brathwaite, 5, Daniel Robert F. Davies, 143, Shari Bianca Castro, 329, Nancy Janelle Ellis, 18, Bernard P. Estridge, 205, Carmen Malone, 258, Stacey Maker, 300, Ingrid A. Moses Scotland, 171, David Allen Neal, 146, Pedro Pickering, 413, Ronnie W. Skelton, 257, Lesmore Smith, 53, Warner Smith, 335, Neville Smith, 301, Shannon Marion Smith Archer, 204, Karen Vanderpool, 17, Zoe Walcott, 262, total votes cast in Longwood, 3,417.
We're seeing a pattern emerging now. interested because if we look at the last set of results, you're seeing the pattern within the district and then within the at-large candidates. We can almost draw that map as we hear the results being called. So I find that to be quite interesting, surprising in some aspects, but historically this is how we've seen elections go, where a candidate in a particular district, in a particular party does well, and the at-large representatives who supports that candidate also do well. And we've seen that happen here.
And I think that's expected.
Yeah, it was expected. It shows that Natalia, his supporters voted most along strict party lines.
They did.
They almost went.
I think that's something we're going to have to watch throughout the rest of the race as well. That's going to be a transition, possibly a transition.
Yep.
I just wanted to touch on when we come back.
Districts 4, 6, 5, and 7. Ishmael E. Bradwick, 49. Daniel Robert F. Davies, 705. Sharianto Castro, 1751. Missy Jamel Ellis, 88. Bernard B. Estridge, 926. Carmen Malone, 1301. Stacy Napier, 1745. Ingrid A. Moses Scotland, 1380. David Allen O'Neill, 763. Edward Pickering, 1620. Ronnie W. Skelton, 1713. Lesmore Smith, 501. Lorna Smith, 1919. Neville Smith, 1557. Sheena Mary Smith Archer, 1292. Karen Randall, 100. Zoe Walcott, 1425. Total votes cast, 18835.
Thus far by the newcomer, the former First Lady, Lorna Smith, 1,919 votes thus far. I think the closest person after that is going to be Shari De Castro with 1751. And I think that's interesting because topping the poll so far, Jan and I are smiling from ear to ear because the women not only came out and contested in numbers this year, but they're also doing well in the polls.
Yeah. And I think that was something that we had to watch closely. We knew that with 16 women
and all of them been campaigning on that vein of women. It's time for the women to take lead. And
when we look at the fact that Lorna Smith is leading not only overall so far but within her party, what do you guys think about that?
I mean, I think she was, in my opinion, the most visible candidate in the race.
Oh yeah.
She became a household name.
Yeah, I would say so.
I mean, you had the kids singing on the clock.
Very good marketing campaign.
Yeah, she ran a campaign, in my opinion. It was clear, it was concise, it was direct, and it was on many different levels. She touched, the entire fabric of the society. She touched every angle. She was everywhere.
Yeah, I hate to say it this way, and when I say an unfair advantage, I don't mean that in a negative light. She's a former First Lady. This is a name we know and love.
Yeah.
But outside of that, she is a name synonymous with one of our top pillars, financial services. So if we think about it that way, I find she had an unfair advantage, and she used it to the best of her advantage in this elections, and I give her kudos for that. My only disappointment is I wish she stayed independent, only because as I look at the numbers, it shows that even when the districts were voting party lines, people voted for her resoundingly. She has topped the charts every time in every section of the 3-4 districts that have called. 4th district, 6th district, 5th district, and now the 7th district. She's been on the top so far. So it just shows me that whether she went with a party or she stood independently, that people thought she was a good candidate.
Well, one of the things that you mentioned that I thought was interesting as well, and we mentioned it earlier, Kenny talked about it, competence. Having a track record of excellence and service, and I don't think anyone in this particular case, while some may have wanted to even try, could not dispute not only the character, but the level of experience regionally and internationally that Lorna Smith brings to the table, particularly in these very troubling times. I think a lot of persons also took that into consideration.
Yeah, agreed. Definitely.
I mean, it is a long way off still.
Of course.
Because to be in the race, you need to get to about 3,700
Oh, yeah.
to be in full.
Historically.
Yeah, about 3,007, 3,006 around there to be there. So we're halfway there, essentially. Yes.
And here's some people that we need to look out for. Stacey Mather is creeping up with every single district. Stacey is doing well.
He's doing well.
Kedrick Pickering is doing well as he moves forward. Charity Castro continues to do well. Zoe Walcott is creeping up behind her. Shayna is looking good. Neville is trending well. And surprisingly, from the newcomers list, Daniel has been doing quite well. And Estridge has a whopping 926, and he's also trending very well. The numbers are increasing in this regard. So these are some at-large candidates that I think we need.
We got to keep our eyes on.
We got to keep our eyes on them.
I really think the 9th district is going to decide.
I think so too. At the end of the day, that's going to be the deciding factor.
Say that again. You think the what?
The 9th district is going to decide.
I beg to differ, but let's see.
Let's see how it
I
goes.
think this deciding factor for me is going to be in the 8th district or the 2nd district, but we'll wait and see. What do you think?
You'll just have to wait and see. You'll have to wait.
I agree. I think the 9th district is going to definitely cause a huge impact in regards to not only the district, of course, it's a interesting race, but at large. Virgin Gordians, the 9th district particularly, have always played a very integral role in the ultimate deciding factor because, like we've seen, there are some trends there where persons tour the party lines and they sometimes go all the way, as we've heard, and sometimes some persons don't. So I think the 9th district is definitely something we have to watch.
Yeah, the toss-up so far has been between Shari, Buddha, and I don't want to say the wrong name.
I think is it Ingrid?
And is it Ingrid Moses? And Ingrid. And that toss-up, you're seeing a slight differential where it tells me that candidates voted 3 in one party and then they did a surprise one. 3 in one party and a surprise. So
we're on to the 2nd district.
Total registered voters, 186. Total ballots cast, 105. Voter turnout, 56.45%. Election day, Troy Christopher, 1-3. Marietta Hedley, 2-3. Melvin M. Turnbull, 6-7. Total, 13. Marietta Hedley, 23. Melvin M. Turnbull, 69. Total votes cast in Just Van Dyke polling division, 105. King Garden Bay polling division. Total registered voters, 601. Total ballots cast, 353. Voter turnout, 58.74%. Election day. Troy Christopher, 85. Marietta Hedley, 2-3. Melvin M. Turnbull, 198. Total votes cast, 306. Totals. Troy Christopher, 95. Marietta Hedley, 26. Melvin M. Turnbull, 231. Total votes cast, 352. Brewers Bay. Total registered voters, 306. Total ballots cast, 164. Voter turnout, 53.59%. Election day. Troy Christopher, 7-8. Marietta Hedley, 1-5. Melvin M. Turnbull, 4-6. Total votes cast, 139. Totals. Troy Christopher, 9-4. Troy Christopher, 9-0. Marietta Heckley, 4-5. Melvin M. Turnbull, 171. Totals, Troy Christopher, 101. Marietta Heckley, 5-2. Melvin M. Turnbull, 205. Total votes cast, 358. The following is the combined totals of all four polling divisions for the 2nd electoral district. Election day, 266 Troy Christopher, 106 Marietta Heckley, 482 Melvin M. Turnbull. Totals, 303 Troy Christopher, 116 Marietta Heckley, 560 Melvin M. Turnbull. The combined totals for the territorial electoral district are as follows. Ishmael E. Brathwaite, 6-0. Daniel Robert F. Davies, 864. Shari Bianca Y. Castro, 2056. Mitzi Janelle Ellis, 105. Bernard B. Estridge, 986. Carvin Malone, 1465. Stacy Mather, 2180. Ingrid A. Moses Scatman, 1756. David Allen Neal, 800. Kedrick Pickering, 1781. Ronnie W. Skelton, 2151. Lesmore Smith, 581. Lorna Smith, 2197. Neville Smith, 1771. Shana Miriam Smith Archer, 1701. Karen Vanderpool, 112. Zoe Walcott, 1624. Total votes cast, 22190.
The pattern emerges again.
Indeed.
That is very interesting. Seeing that Mitch is with the BBI and Shari emerges with that amount.
Well, actually, most of the VIP at-large candidates did well in the 2nd district.
So,
In 2nd district.
But the candidate has
emerged as a clear and undisputed winner.
That is very interesting.
But it speaks to the historic of politics in the BVI. Historically, the 2nd district has been a VIP district. And we're seeing that still, that although the district candidate is elsewhere, they're supporting their incumbent, but they're saying, you know what, here's some other people that we also like. It shows the independence of the voters. We're no longer just voting party lines, we're voting people.
Yes.
And that pattern continues to emerge here.
I think one of the things when it comes to this particular district, I don't know about you guys, but the incumbent Melvin Mitch Turnbull emerging as the winner doesn't come as a surprise. Despite the fact that you have two other persons within the race, he definitely consistently seemed to be the stronger candidate. We do have to give kudos to Mr. Troy Christopher, who both Troy Christopher and Marietta Flex Headley, who came into the race very late.
Yeah.
But based on the scores, not doing too badly for Mr. Christopher there.
No, especially on Jos Van Dyke. I mean, he amassed the most voters on Jos Van Dyke. 78 of those voters voted for him, while the incumbent had 46. So it just goes to speak that there are areas that could surprise us at the end of the day as it relates. We can't just call a clear winner at the beginning because people are voting differently, and you're seeing this not just district-wise, but this also tells us that when we look at the at-large slate, that we're not sure what's going to happen. So that was an interesting fact to see, that not every part of the district is with a particular person, but that within the district there is some level of divide that keeps the competition going.
All right. right, well, viewers, we're going to take a quick commercial break. I want you to stay tuned. We're going to come back with some scores and, of course, our amazing panel who's discussing the results. Journey to elections. The journey is pretty much going to be concluded here tonight because we've arrived. We'll be right back.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here. My name is Kamal Haynes. Most of you know me from 284 News, but now you get to see me in a different light on my very own show called Health is Wealth. We have Joel Turnbull.
I don't want you to arch your back when you're pulling down.
Milton McLean.
First of all, right, your footwork.
Stephen Payne.
That was a 9 out of 10. I know you got the service down pat.
Steve Augustine.
You did a pretty hard workout today, so perhaps...
And as you can see, it's actually
you're feeling it.
Alonzo Boynes.
Taekwondo.
Adam Murrows.
I'll speak as if you're an absolute beginner.
I am an absolute beginner.
You are an absolute beginner.
And Seth Graham.
It bites.
It will bite.
Get your water, get your fruits and veggies, and experience a wealth of knowledge about getting healthy.
Today, I am doing cobble treatments with Beyond the Reef. Today, we are doing shark research. So today, we are doing whale research with Beyond the Reef. And wherever I go, I take CCT with me because my life is unlimited.
Where's Sharon? Is she not here? Boy, girl, boy, girl. Not It's a party neutral tie for me.
You know, I thought about it to make sure. Just tonic sauce.
Good, thank you.
Oh, I've been waiting for you. You know.
Playing
with you and Angel to play. It's been too long.
565.
Yes, yes.
Voter turnout 51.68%.
Turn off my
Election day. Carl Dawson 112. Chad George 109. Sylvia Rocky Moses 19. Totals 147. Carl Dawson 121. Chad George.
Sorry.
I'm good.
Sylvia Rocky Moses.
I missed the first set of numbers.
Combined totals. Election day. Carl Dawson 356. Chad George 237. Sylvia Rocky Moses 119. Totals. Carl Dawson 452. Chad George 260. Sylvia Rocky Moses.
Everything's good?
153.
Step by step. Everything's good for me.
Step by step, yes.
Everything good.
Ishmael Bradley 70. Daniel Robert F. Davies 975. Sharon Young Hawaii Castro 2424. Missy Jamel Ellis 116. Bernard B. Estrich 1023. Carmen Lowe 1717. Stacy Baker 2465. Ingrid A. Moses Catholic 1948. David Alvin 819. Pedro Pickering 1863. Roy W. Skelton 2375. Lesmore Smith 648. Lawrence Smith 2344. Neville Smith 2123. Shannon Marion Smith Arthur 2012. Karen Matthew 1 9. Zoe Walcott, 1930. Total votes cast, 24981.
So we've just received the results.
Who's this?
We've just received the results for the first district for both the at-large and also for the first district candidates. And it's an interesting one. With the candidates so far, we're looking at Carl coming in with a whopping 356. So far, Chad 237, which isn't too far behind, and then Sylvia with 109. What do you think?
Benito, welcome, and allow us to welcome you, Benito and Sharon. Welcome to the platform. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Tell us your thoughts.
Well, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here with you on Tweet4 Media, Ron, Angel. The Tweet4 Media organization has done an excellent job in bringing coverage to the BVI public on the elections. I think that it's an interesting race thus far. District 1, is it a surprise? Perhaps not, it's a VIP district. However, we see that Mr. George performed very well. At large, we will have to analyze it a bit more, but clearly the trend is holding. Lorna Smith of NDP remains in the lead with consistent numbers. And we also see PVIM, Ronnie Skelton in particular, coming in right behind her, doing well, and Stacey Mather. The others are still kind of battling between Shari DeCastro and Kedrick Pickering, and we're going to have to see how it plays out. Maybe Miss Ingrid Moses is going to pick up some votes later on, but we'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yes, I would echo the sentiments of Benito, and thank you for inviting me to sit on such a prestigious panel this evening. And the election is turning out to be quite a very interesting one across many lines. We're seeing persons sticking to what is expected as far as it relates to the district and the district rep, but we're seeing a little bit of independence, if I can put it that way, across the at-large.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point because we are seeing the pattern emerge in a different way. It's almost building a spider web with the at-large candidates. In some districts, they are going party line, but choosing one person, so they'll pick 3, and then a one surprise, or we're seeing that they are just choosing all over the place. So it just goes to show that there's a level of maturity, and some level of independence, so to speak, with the electoral, with the constituents in each district. They're no longer just voting for voting's sake. It seems that some thought went into
it seems as if at least this election cycle, from what I'm seeing, is that the voter is a lot more tuned in. They're tuned in to what's going on in their district, what's going on in the BVI on a whole, but as well, how do we stack up globally? Because that would be a very important thing to look at once we get past the elections.
That's a good point.
Now, again, we were looking at some of the at-large votes, and it's an interesting comparison because, like you guys were mentioning, Angela and I earlier with the others, you see where the lines of party politics is still very adamant. Throughout this entire election process, you had persons who were adamant that they wanted independence, they wanted independent candidates, they wanted to segue from that. But I think in some cases, we're still very much seeing where the support is split, but it's always, almost in some cases, still full circle. There's still a dedication to perhaps what persons know and are familiar with.
Is that a flaw?
Well, I yield to Benito.
Well, Sharon, of course, wonderful to be here with you. But and thank you. But my sense is that we have not completely pulled away from the party system, and that's clear. What's different, especially between this election and the last one, is that PVIM has emerged as a legitimate third party. They actually have their own base, as we can see, base of support. So we actually have VIP with a base of support, NDP and PVIN, and that makes a big difference to them.
Oh yeah, I thought we would not have embraced an additional party on this level, but you're right. We're seeing that perhaps we have room for one more.
Yeah, there is, and I think a lot is changing. The whole dynamic of elections in the BVI and how people think and how people perceive change in this instance is good, and it gives the voter more more choices.
Because Sharon is from the ninth district. Some of the numbers we heard earlier show that in the 9th district, especially in the 2nd district, at large wise, the 2nd district, the 7th district, the 6th district, and the 4th district, the candidates have been doing some interesting things out in the outer territories. Is that expected?
I think the electorate in Virgin Water, from what I'm seeing, I wouldn't say the electorate is confused. The electorate is really looking for candidates who have the interest of the sister islands at heart. I've noticed in this campaign, as opposed to many of the others, that there's a very big focus on the sister islands and what the needs of the sister islands are. And I think we're going to see that, especially on the at-large slate, whichever candidates have been able to speak to the intrinsic needs of the sister islanders will do well.
Yeah. So we'll take a pause as we get some numbers.
Polling
district. Thank you for that correction. If we go back to the candidates, just two candidates in this area are Marlon Penn and
L. Allen Whitley.
And it seems that Marlon has surpassed his new opponent by quite a bit. Are we surprised there? Is this an interesting find, or did we expect that this is the way that it would go?
Well, I think it's to be expected. He has presented himself not just as the District 8 candidate incumbent, but he's also been a minister, and he's the leader of his party and a potential premier. So that has probably helped to boost him in this race.
Yes, and I agree with that because he is the incumbent, and he has a proven track record, in his district and being a leader. So there's no surprise there in my eyes.
I want to add that the 8th district had quite a bit of a voter turnout. It has been consistent throughout the day with having one of the larger percentages of voter turnout, and we can see, of course, where the majority went. But kudos to the people of the 8th district for at least coming out throughout this process and exercising their right.
What's interesting is that the 8th district voters split their votes almost 4 ways at large.
At large, yes.
And that's interesting.
So you're sort of seeing, to me, you're seeing that trend that I spoke to before about having that little bit of what I call the independence and being able to, once we get towards the House of Assembly side, and having that train of thought that yes, there is a bit of a difference, and we're not all going to go down the party line.
As an analytical person, how do you make this make sense? Or do you think this is an unpredictable start to the end of tonight? Because with the way it's going, as Sharon has rightly said, we really don't know who will emerge as our at-large candidates. Is this unpredictable?
Well, let's look at what the numbers are telling us. We have at the top Mrs. Lorna Smith, 2,867 votes. Coming in, I'm sorry. Stacey, forgive me, 2,877 votes, Stacey Mather. Then second, Lorna Smith. Third, Shari DeCastro, 2,778. And then fourth, Ronnie Skelton, 2,654. But who's trailing? We have Kedrick Pickering with 2,347. We have
Neville came in with 2,428.
Neville at 2,428. And Shayna at
2,228.
And Ingrid Moses at 2,168.
Yes.
So the question is, are there enough votes left to change the trend?
Yes.
That's the question, and we'll see. But I'm getting the feeling that it's only going to go in one direction.
You feel it's only going to. And I think right now we only have districts 1, 8, 3. No, I'm sorry, we did 8 just now.
So we did one already as well.
3 and 9 to go.
And then I think you have 9.
3 and 9.
Which is 9 is a very large.
We heard from Jastendai.
Yes.
And they have gone all over the place because there's some change on this there. But 3 and 9.
Now to the third.
Third district.
1821. Total ballots cast 1006. Voter turnout 55.24%. Election day. Julian Fraser 355. Aaron Carlin 291. Travis Smith 165. Totals. Julian Fraser 459. Aaron Carlin 347. Kevin Smith 186. Total votes cast 992. Territorial combined. Ishmael E. Bradford 86. Daniel Robert F. Davies 1380. Sharon Yamulani Pastor 3025. Macy Jamel Ellis 139. Bernard B. Estridge 141. Zoning all out, 2326. Total votes cast, 32286.
520. Lorna, Shari, Stacy, and Ronnie are emerging as a pattern. And if you think about it slightly, there's some consistency in there, but there's also some change.
Yes.
Because Shari is not with the party that Ronnie is with. Lorna's from a different party.
So you have a what we call a mishmash.
Can he call it a kalaloo? He call it a peloolia.
Yes.
So definitely quite a combination.
It is definitely a mix, but I think that it's a good mix in terms of the diversity and the skill set that it brings into the House of Assembly if they can bring it home.
What does that really mean for the House of Assembly? We're talking about different parties, different ideologies. We're talking about different concepts and beliefs in the political space. What does that mean? Because these are a different set of people.
Well, what's interesting here is that you have good performance at large by the three different parties. Across the board, we'll see how the rest of the district candidates play out. But clearly, you're going to have a majority. The largest party will probably be the Virgin Islands Party, but the largest number of parties combined between the three will be NDP, PVM, and perhaps PU. So in the House of Assembly, the question will be, who will command the confidence of at least 7
in order to form the government?
Of those persons been elected to form the government. And you have to have someone that everyone believes in, supports. So we have yet to see how that's going to work out. We've heard some things in the debates, Ron, about a potential coalition. We've heard nothing yet about who the leader would be.
Yeah. Yes.
That's the magic question.
Here's a question that I want to pitch out, because these are two people who have been not just in professional spaces that speak to politics, but also throughout the community throughout the years. What does a coalition government mean to us internationally and then locally?
Well, I'll let Sharon begin.
Well, locally, I would say what it means is we're seeing that the people want something different. I think that has been very clear in this election cycle. The people are looking for individuality, but with a focus solely on what's important and what is good for the territory, and by extension, the people. They're looking for what I would call people-centric candidates who, yes, we look at what's important, but we have the people in the community at heart. Because, for me, I always say you can have a beautiful edifice, you can have a beautiful country, but if we don't take care of our people. And I think that this is what we're seeing here. The candidates who seem to be resonating the most are the ones who have been speaking plainly about infrastructure, healthcare, social services. That's what I'm seeing across. And of course, education. We're seeing where both Shari and Stacy are sitting very high because it's about development as well.
Internationally.
Well, let's just be clear firstly that a coalition government is not anything out of the ordinary. It happens in many places. In fact, in several places in the world, it's the norm. We actually have had a coalition government for the past 10 months.
True.
And I think what that experience demonstrated is that you can have a functioning coalition government. As long as you have leadership that is respected and can command the confidence of everyone, then it's possible. I think that it's not necessarily a bad thing, as long as it's stable. So the question will be, with this diverse group of people, what is the agenda? Can they mobilize around an agenda that they agree on, but also move the Virgin Islands forward in a way that the public is happy these are the questions that we'll have to see if they're answered in the rest of, I guess, the rest of the evening into tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's a very valid point, because in the aftermath of our general election, I think that's where the meat of the matter lies. That's where the work comes in putting together the variety of different persons and expertise to now push the agenda forward for the people. Given, of course, all that we've been through, I think that it's important that if persons are, one would say, keen on the interest, then it would essentially show the public where their hearts are at and what their true concern is. And it may sounds easy, but it may not be as easy as we're hoping.
I want to pitch this out there before the next set of results, and which should be the final
district.
Yes.
Yes. We're waiting on District 9.
Do you think it would be wise or a good idea to have an informal voting process to designate the leader of the coalition government, if that were so?
I mean, that's a good question, because what you're really asking is how much public input should there be in determining who the leader is. And there have been many people around the territory that are saying or have said we should be able to vote for our premier at least. And so it sounds like you're saying that we would informally,
because it's not constitutionally allowed.
I think the challenge that you're going to have in this situation is that people will want to see the government form quickly so that we know we have a government that is stable. I don't know that there's going to be time or room to have that that wider public consultation. What we have to hope is that among themselves, those who have been successful tonight will be able to work out very quickly who will be in charge, who's going to be the premier, who are going to be the ministers. We have to hope that there's enough maturity in the room to do that and to do it quickly. We don't want this to be prolonged for several days. We would like it to be completed as quickly as possible.
And I see the same thing as well, that it would be nice to have the public consultation, but in the short term, it's not a very realistic option. We just have to hope that that the individuals who will be, unless something drastically changes in the night, forming the coalition over the last couple of years, there's an understanding of what it is that the people really want, and so that they can drive towards making that happen for us in terms of how the portfolios are selected. You've been hearing a lot of talk as well that if you're elected district, that there needs to be that focus on district and not necessarily hold ministerial portfolios. So it would be interesting to see how we flesh that out in the next week or so.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Here's a comment I want to make that Jan made off screen. She said to me, I think this would be the first election cycle that it would be wise for different parties to be sitting and watching the election in a room together so that they can make decisions swiftly about how to move forward. Are we agreed there?
I think that's an exceptional idea. Yeah. For them to, I don't know if they're actually doing it. I would prefer to sit in a conference room with my colleagues and watch it together to see how it goes, to see how we could best align ourselves. Because again, it's in the essence of time.
Yes, it's a very interesting time, but the focus has to be on what the people are looking at, and for the elected officials to guide the thought process so that the country is successful.
And Ron, let me just add that the trend this election was lower voter turnout.
Yes.
Of course, part of it is that we have a bigger voters list, but then we also know that there's been much less voter turnout numerically than before. And what this suggests is that there's dissatisfaction, discontent with our politics and government. And so the expectation of the public is going to be that whatever government emerges will take steps to restore full confidence in governance, right? And that there will be a government that will be more responsive to their needs and their expectations and their aspirations. And things that have been long-standing issues like sewage, water, basic infrastructure. These are the kind of things that people simply want to see happen.
I agree with you.
It's been a long time that people have coped with a lot of these problems. It's time to fix the roads, and do everything else that needs to be done, education, health, to restore that confidence.
I just want to reiterate, as we progress, we're waiting, of course, on the 9th District results. But as it stands, we have Stacey Mather coming in with 3,292 votes. He's the highest vote getter, followed by Lorna Smith with 3,224 in third position at this time. The third highest position, we have Cherie DeCastro at 3,025. Ronnie W. Skelton follows with 3,025. Right below him, we have Neville Smith, 2,607, followed by Dr. Kedrick Pickren with 2,560, and Shayna Smith Archer with 2,520. She's followed by Ingrid Moses Scatliff with 2,461. So we see, here we are.
Yes. Total registered voters, 1,385. Total ballots cast, 845. Voter turnout, 61.01%. Election day. Shereen Flax, 157. Paul Evans, 259. Vernon Vanderpool, 10. Vincent Whitley, 281. Totals. Shereen Flax, 173. Paul Evans, 306. Vernon Vanderpool, 11. Vincent A. Whitley, 353. Total votes cast, 843. North Sound Polling Division. Total registered voters, 362. Total ballots cast, 232. Voter turnout, 64.09%. Election day. Shereen Flax, 3-1. Coy Evans, 7-0. Vernon Vanderpool, 0. Vincent A. Whitley, 113. Totals. Shereen Flax, 3-4. Coy Evans, 7-3. Vernon Vanderpool, 1. Vincent A. Whitley, 123. Total votes cast, 231. Anigata Polling Division. Total registered voters, 162. Total ballots cast, 102. Voter turnout, 62.96%. Election day. Shereen Flax, 3-1. Coy Evans, 3-2. Vernon Vanderpool, 1-7. Vincent A. Whitley, 1-3. Totals. Shereen Flax, 3-2. Coy Evans, 3-6. Vernon Vanderpool, 1-9. Vincent A. Whitley, 1-5. Total votes cast, 102. The combined local electoral district results. Shereen Flax, 239. Coy Evans, 415. Vernon Vanderpool, 3-1. Vincent A. Whitley, 491. Total votes cast, 1176.
Number at large will be interesting.
So that wraps
That will
up
be the
districts.
determining.
We're just waiting to hear
The at-large.
the at-large from those
Yes.
areas. So far, we've got 5 VIE district candidates already accounted for.
Yes.
The local electoral district results.
And here we go to
Combined totals are as follows. District 1, George, 260. Sylvia Romaine Moses, 153. Second Electoral District, Troy Christopher, 303. Marietta Headley, 116. Melvin M. Turnbull, 560. Third Electoral District, Julian Fraser, 459. Aaron Harlan, 347. Kevin Smith, 186. District 4, Sandy M. Harlan Underhill, 285. Luce Hodge Smith, 322. Rosita N. Scott Thompson, 12. Ian Seymour Smith, 145. District 5, Marvin Biden, 342. Kai M. Ryan, 840. District 6, Albert Euro Kings, 419. Myron Morgan, 736. District 7, Pearlie R. Scotland, 367. Natalia D. Wheatley, 487. 8th Electoral District, Marlon Penn, 885. Douglas Allen Wheatley, 319. District 9, Shireen Platts, 239. Coy Evans, 415. Vernon Vanderpool, 31. Vincent A. Wheatley, 491. The combined territorial electoral district results: Ishmael E. Bradway, 9-5. Daniel Robert F. Davies, 1490. Shari Bianca Y. Castro, 3471. Mitzi Jamel Ellis, 164. Bernard B. Eschridge, 1630. Carbon Malone, 2430. Stacy Maker, 3617. Ingrid A. Moses Scotland, 2675. David Allen O'Neill, 1396. Kendrick Pickering, 2860. Ronnie W. Skelton, 3332. Lesmore Smith, 851. Lorna Smith, 3578. Neville Smith, 2978. Shayna Marianne Smith Archer, 2781. Karen Vanderpool, 244. Zoe Walcott, 2697. Total votes cast, 36289.
And there we have it. I believe this would conclude or should conclude the
Yes, this
at-large
should
votes.
conclude, yes.
I wasn't
Yeah, I
quite clear
did
if this
not-
was the final numbers, was it?
We're not sure. She has one more presentation.
District 1, Carl Dawson, 432 votes. District 2, Melvin M. Trumbull, 560. District 3, Julian Fraser, 459. District 4, Luce Hodge Smith, 322. District 5,
Party at 3,578. The only person from the at-large team for the Virgin Islands Party, Shari B. DeCastro, coming in third at 3,471. And Ronnie W. Skelton, chairman of the Progressive Orange Mounds Movement, also joining Stacey Mather, but in fourth place at 3,332. That is the at-large counts, the final at-large counts for the election process. Panel, I have to ask you your thoughts.
So there are 4 VIP candidates, 2 NDP candidates, 1 PU candidate, and 3 PBIM candidates. I don't know, I'm speechless. This is the direction that Sharon and the panel before has talked about. It links to the analysis that Benito gave us. I think this is a new horizon for the BVI.
Yes, it most definitely
I must say that this is also going to come with its share of challenges.
Yes.
Because these are heavy hitters in their parties, but collectively can they work together for the better good of the country?
Well, of course, congratulations to all of the successful candidates that were victors tonight. Of course, we like to say that to all those who weren't successful, congratulations to you as well for making the effort, giving the people a choice. That's important in democracy. But some very interesting numbers here. The Virgin Islands Party remains the biggest party in the House of Assembly with 6 seats.
6 seats.
We then have the NDP with 3, PVIM 3, PU with 1. Very interesting dynamics. How this is all going to work. Stacey Mather and the PVIM, the big surprise tonight. They gained the confidence of the public. Their message about a plan for the territory, rebuilding, putting us on track, clearly resonated with the public. So kudos to them, to Ronnie Skelton and the whole team. I think we have a bit more of politicking to go before we know the final outcome of what the composition of the government will be.
So essentially the question is so far is in the hours to come, what's it going to be?
What's going to be the conversation? What's going to be the conversation with the successful candidates, and how do we form a government? But as you can see, as it relates to the at-large, where the bulk of the electorate voted, that speaks to a little bit of what persons want to see, that message that was going out to around the territory in terms of working together, in terms of putting a plan together and driving forward with that plan. As Benito said, now that the election is over, the hard campaign work about forming the government and getting on to the business of running the country is going to take a front seat, and it's going to be very interesting. Very interesting.
Angel, your sentiments?
My sentiments are exactly the same. I believe that the hard work only now begins, because all of the campaigning can't prepare you to bring brilliant minds together and to make a decision that puts country over self. So I am looking forward to what this new coalition government will do. I'm looking forward to all of the ideas and the manifestos and the hopes and dreams for our Virgin Islands to merge into one national plan that works in the best interest of country and people. And I'm excited for the way forward, even though I'm slightly hesitant.
But I know what we were saying. We talked a lot about it in the 9th district, about we've had some really good candidates, and what we need now is for all of these persons to find a way to mend those fences as it relates to moving all of us forward. Because it's a pivotal time, not only for the BVI, but where we are in the world space, where Benito can attest to. And we just need to be able to find a way to move it forward.
Sharon, I have to agree with you in your sentiment about, for example, the 9th district having some very strong candidates, and I would hope that across the 9 districts and even at-large candidates as well. Some of the candidates who were unsuccessful continue to have a presence in our society. I do think that many of them have significant contributions that can be made outside of public office, and I think holistically their support will be needed, and I hope they understand that.
And we've heard a lot about, bandied about in the last couple of weeks about district council. So this is where I think we can make a significant change and a positive switch where maybe the unsuccessful ones in this venue can help to be the backbone with these district councils to keep all of us on the straight and narrow in terms of good governance.
I totally agree. Well, I want to thank you guys so much for being so willing to come in and participate in this process. It's been a long day for many of us. Most importantly, though, each of your respective fields, you've contributed significantly, and one of the things I'm really proud of with this particular election process is the level of political discourse that we've been able to develop.
Most definitely.
That moving forward as a territory, we become stronger in that aspect. The campaigns, the rallies are one thing, but being able to present candidates to the general public and to the world on a national platform where they could debate, they could answer questions, I think is something that we need to continue to strengthen in our society. And I want to take this opportunity on behalf of my team, my hard-working team, as you can see. It takes a lot of persons to keep this engine running, but thank you so much for your participation here tonight.
Well, Ron, we can't end without thanking you.
Yes, most definitely.
You have been exceptional this campaign season. You have set a new standard going to media on what election coverage should look like. Fair, balanced coverage. Thank you, my friend. You've been exceptional.
Most appreciated.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you. Audience, I have to thank you guys because you've been rocking with me literally all day. Literally all day. And I appreciate you so much for the persons all across the territory who have been zoning in and sharing your comments. I want to take this opportunity also to thank my hard-working team. We had a representative at all of the 9 districts. On any given time, there were either one person or 2 persons there making sure that information was received and then sending it back to our headquarters. So kudos to the entire Tweet 4 Media and CCT Live team, our management team, of course, directed under the leadership of our CEO, Mr. Avrad Penn. I want to thank you guys so much. The results are in, and we have some more politicking to do. But most importantly, moving forward, we have a nation and a country to build. Am I right? Absolutely. Viewers, thank you so much. Have a beautiful rest of the day. I also want to thank you guys so much for, once again, allowing us to have a safe and incident-free election process once again in the territory. I cannot say it enough. That is something that I am immensely proud of, and we will continue to do that every time we get the opportunity. God bless you, and may God continue to bless these beautiful British Virgin Islands. You guys have a good night.
The win.
What the hell?
I'm freaking out.
Is about these people.
It's always a pleasure coming to you live and direct from the
What's poppin'? What's really good? Davis has won it for the
Lakers. Yo, everything good there?
Aye. This thing got me one way, daddy.
What do you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch when I reach home.
What you really? Hey, this ain't like you, you know.
Dad, this thing got me staying home, keeping out of trouble me.
Wow. What your name is?
Shit. I talking about my CCT life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial turn into 5. 5 months turn into, well, you know I huff. I watching ball. I been watching football. Dad, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hook, I tell you.